Now, this is a question that I actually like. This line of questioning actually starts to take you down a very good logical path if you follow it to its completion and don't stop and make assumptions. And so let me help you with that. You're asking, what was the first cause of all things if not God? But you need to continue that question one step further and say, well, what caused God if not God? Who created God? And that is a very, very good question. By your own logic, you have to have a cause in order to have an effect, right? That's what you're basically implying. Something must have caused all this to happen, therefore God. Well, if that's the case, then something must have caused God, right? The next portion of this conversation really goes into which God are you talking about? Because depending on which God you're talking about, we can pretty much pinpoint what caused that God. Now, specifically, you're probably talking about the God of the Bible, who is also known as Yahweh, and we know what caused Yahweh. Yahweh was a Near Eastern Canaanite Bronze Age god who originally had a wife named Asherah and was largely worshipped by the Canaanites and others in the nearby areas long before the Israelites adopted him. Archaeological evidence also supports this idea, showing that the first Israelites also worshipped Yahweh along with his wife Asherah. So, just to summarize my point here, if you're asking where all things came from and you think it all came from Yahweh, well, I have to tell you, you're actually incorrect. Yahweh came from the land of Canaan along with his wife Asherah. He was just one of the many gods who the Near Eastern cultures of that time sacrificed animals to. It was not only Yahweh, it was Baal and many others during that time. But there was a running theme of people sacrificing goats and lambs and doves and pigeons and bulls and all kinds of stuff to their gods because they were part of a blood cult. And anyone who believes in Yahweh today kind of is too. Since there's absolutely zero evidence that Yahweh created anything specifically, then we should probably go with an older god that, Yahweh was probably based or built around. We could probably go back to Set, or we could go back to Osiris. We could go back to many of the other pre-existing Egyptian gods who share a lot of similarities with the later gods like Yahweh who came out of Canaan. So where did all things come from? Probably not the Bronze Age Canaanite-based Yahweh, just my guess. And since there's absolutely zero evidence that any single patriarchal, omniscient, omnipotent, powerful man-god who loves blood made anything, I'm just going to continue being an agnostic for now. Thanks.